Hey gang, it's Dr. Steve here. Awesome that you can join me here for this live. I'll tell you, planning for 2024 is an exciting process. There's a couple ways that I go about planning for the upcoming year that I want to let you know about, kind of like a three-part step in a way, planning for 2024. I'll just show you my 2023 little vision board here and vision boards aren't the be all and end all, but we like to kind of put something up visually so that I can see that. But this isn't the only thing. It's actually something that I use to just be kind of a creative placeholder for things that are important, concepts, ideas, and things of that nature. But I wanted to get down to the kind of the real crux of the 2024 planning, which I do quarterly. I use a process of death awareness planning. And why that process has been so magnificent for me is because it really forces me to compress time and chunk timeframes. And not only chunking timeframes, but also creating a bit of an urgency as well. And so as we create both urgency and chunk timeframes that way in the mind, it kind of, the way that I see it, almost like the cream rises to the top as to things that are most meaningful and most important. So I wanted to just give you just a handful of little kind of sequences that you can steps that you can take and questions that you can ask in order to elicit an even more meaningful 2024. So you can pick any area of life, but I would just keep this very, very general to start. And here's how I go about it. It's going to seem so simple, but it's actually like so wild with energy. It is a bit of a reflective, kind of meditative way to go about doing it. So here's how we do it. The first thing I ask is, if I had 7 days to live, what would I be doing if I had 7 days to go? And the reason that that's important is it shrinks me down to high priority items in my immediate environment. The reason that's important is because your mind will show you things that are lagging, dragging energy, unfinished business, and creating anxieties. Could be a cleaning of the room, your dresser on your nightstand. It could be, changing the sheets that haven't been changed in 4 months. I don't know what that is, but if you compress it down, your system's going to evaluate and have to hyper evaluate. What do I want to leave people with? Both in my material physical reality, what do I want to leave them with? Okay, meaning I got to clean stuff up, but also on a kind of emotional, mental, spiritual level is like, what do I want to leave people with? So you're going to find ways that really are expressive to you. Ways that you want to express yourself most and that are most important and meaningful to you. And so that's a really simple way. Crunching time down to 7 days, you'll see what areas of your physical reality need to clean up so that you can let go of that and know that people will basically be dealing with your reality when you go. So you'll kind of high priority on that. And then also it's like, how do I want to express myself to those people that are most important in my life? And that will also provide you with a time crunch so that you can kind of observe that. So that's the first day, 7-day breakdown. The second thing that I use is a 30-day breakdown. So if I have 30 days to go, what am I doing? If my life is wiped out in 30 days, what am I going to be accomplishing in that 30 days that's most meaningful for me to execute and fulfill? And it's a reasonable question. And remember, death awareness is an actual real thing because none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. We know that through living. And so this type of planning is actually extremely practical. If I have 30 days to go, what am I fulfilling, accomplishing, and executing over the 30 days? Then I expand my mind out to 90 days. What am I going to be doing if I have 90 days to go? If I have 90 days to go, now my mind starts to stretch a little bit more. I was like, I got a little bit of time frames here. I can get some things accomplished. So this is cool. And so now I'm going to go start planning for maybe a couple other projects that I can sink my teeth into that, again, are deeply meaningful. You're not going to be wasting your time on things that are low priority. Again, this planning process allows the cream to rise to the top. The fourth time frame that I use is 6 months. So then I'll go a 6-month process to see what rises to the top in terms of priorities. Then I'll extend it to 9 months and then to 1 year. And so then what I have is all the creamy stuff that rises to the top on a 7-day, a 30-day, a 90-day, a 6-month, a 9-month, and a 1 year. And the mind, as fascinating as it is, will only put the things into your awareness that it thinks is reasonable to do in those time frames. So I really want to encourage you to try this out, because it's quite amazing if you just sit with it to see what can I accomplish in 90 days, what's really important to me, or 6 months, or 1 year, what are some of the major things that I want to accomplish over the course of a year. You'll find that they're less than what you think. And you'll be able to take this energy to project it and put it into something and sink your teeth into something that's really meaningful and important to you. The other reason that we use death awareness as a planning device, a tool, is because since hypothetically you're going to be dissolving into the ethers, you will it won't matter as much about what other people want you to do. And so you're able to suspend at least other people's expectations of you, and you're able to draw upon your most authentic, inspired, and meaningful practices, or things that you want to execute or do, and what would be most and matters most to you. And you know, if you're lit up by what you're living and you're lit up by what you're doing, then the world benefits, and the world could take a collective sigh of relief that you're not in distress, you're in eustress. You're going and creating things that are most meaningful and most important to you. And so I really feel like this is a monumental step. If you come across this, I really think like you're meant to hear this right now, because this is such a simple, effective strategy on planning. It brings sanity to the mind, because and kind of giggles and laughter to your being, because it's so simple yet so vital. The pieces that you put down are going to mean something very, very important to you. So that is definitely a way that we do that. Now, pre-setting up, I like to do some breath work, some meditation work, and just get my system in a zone where I feel, maybe it's going for a nature walk. I don't do that, but just something, maybe you go for a workout. I don't know what you would do to get yourself kind of in the flow and in the zone of something, but I would encourage you to do something like that, just to kind of get you more into a peak state as you kind of approach this particular exercise. And I assure you, this does not take long. I've done this in group workshops. I've done this with corporations, and it is like pretty dialed in terms of how much time. We usually take about a half an hour out of a program to dedicate towards a practice like this, and people are finding that like things just pop to mind right away. So again, 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. If you wanted to break those time frames up in a little bit of a different way, go for it. Those are the time frames I generally use. I might throw a 60-day in there, but most oftentimes it's those time frames. And that gives all that, you know, creamy, meaningful stuff an opportunity to rise to the top. So hopefully this kind of helps out with kind of where you're going into 2024. There's also, you know, I make sure that I can celebrate the past. So celebrating my activities in 2023 that were highlights, that maybe I stepped out of my comfort zone or executed or was consistent with, or were that meaningful for me. So when I reflect on 2023, I'm lighting my own energy up by reflecting on what I'm celebrating, and then I can start to future plan and just get really present with what's meaningful and important. So, you know, that's definitely a way to drive energy for your planning process. Hopefully this, you know, is helpful, and you have some fun with it, and go crush it. Enjoy right now, of course. Be content with where you're at. Accept where you're at. That's the obvious. You know, acceptance of what is, eagerness for what's to come. And we want to set up a strategy and some ideas for what you can be eager for and excited for. So I want you to, you know, I wish you all the best, and have a beautiful day, week, month, year, and we will talk to you soon. I'm Dr. Steve. Take care.